Hey guys, this is the DayZ Standalone. I'm going to be giving you a tricks and tips guide on how to get the best video frames per second settings and best video experience or gaming experience in DayZ Standalone. They've updated a lot of the textures and a lot of the things in the game to make it look a lot better, but unfortunately some of the things at the moment in the alpha really affect your video performance and also affect your gameplay. So what I'm going to do is show you a few tips and tricks on exactly how to get the most and maximise the performance of the game. Please keep watching, and hopefully some of the things I tell you will really help you out and make the game give you a much better experience. Right, so the first thing you can do to get better frames per second, well, not better frames per second, but just better overall quality in the game, is choose a decent server. When you go into the server list, which you can access from the main menu, which is here, click change server, and it will list under internet all the servers that are currently available. What you can see on the right hand side here is your ping. What ping is the number in milliseconds of time that it takes you to connect to the actual server that you're wanting to connect to. So in this case, we go down to here, this ping's 100, and that's because there's probably, well, there is 39 out of 40 people on there. It's going to take you 100 milliseconds to actually connect to the server. What I recommend to do, guys, is choose for one that is underneath 50, because if you choose one that's underneath 50, maybe 60 at a push, you're going to notice that when you shoot, it's going to hit and register clean, and it's also going to make it so that when you're moving around, the game runs and works a lot better. It's basically, if you get a lot more people on the server, it's going to put a lot more stress and load underneath the server itself, and the processing is going to go down, which means that the game is going to run slower. And when I say run slower, things you do will be affected by lag, basically. So choose one that's under 60, and you'll notice you'll have a much better gaming experience. Right then, guys, so another thing we can do is check out our video settings in the game. There's a few tricks and tips here that I can give you that will really make the game still look really good but perform a lot better. As you can see, I'm using fraps in the top left hand corner here to display my frames a second, although when I actually am recording, I'm using NVIDIA Shadow Play, which is great. So let's quickly look at the video settings. If we go in and by pressing escape and click configure, you can see our first section of the video settings here. So perspective, you've got first and third options. It doesn't really matter. If you've got the option to use third, you're going to want to use it because it does really enhance the game, because you can see things and do things you can't do in first person. The invert mouse option, obviously I don't understand why you want to invert your mouse, but the option is there if you do want to, for people who prefer the up down than the down up. If we go to field of view and we use that, that will zoom in, which will affect our frames per second, but if we zoom out, I have mine set at around about 75%, so when you're in third person you get to see a lot more of the map. Down to volume, this is all personal preference. As you can see here, the effects menu is there. The music menu I have down, or the music option I have down to nothing, and VoIP I have around about the same as effects, and master volume is set up to full. If we go down now to video settings, these are things that you can do that will really impact your gameplay. So let's go and check out some of the things we can do. Let's start out with quality. We want our objects quality to be very low. You can see in the background these little fieldy bits and tree bits. If we go to very low, they will disappear, which number one will make it easier to see enemies, but number two, it will mean you get a few extra frames a second out of the game. Terrain, exactly the same. I can't really notice much of a difference here by clicking low and higher. I can't see any difference in the game behind me, so we'll keep it on very low just in case. Another thing that people have noted as being quite buggy is the clouds. They do look great as you see them go past with the wind, but if we set the clouds to disabled, the lighting looks better and you get a little boost there in your frames a second, up to 44 now. Shadows as well, we'll keep those at high. I've noticed that that works good and it still looks good underneath your character. Now we go down to rendering. So anti-aliasing, you can set that to high, and if we do change it any certain settings that require a little game restart, it will go to a little menu with a wallpaper, which I'll do now, so you can see, and that will change that. We'll keep that on high. That works perfect. As you can see, it's changing now with this sort of overlay background image of some foliage and the DayZ logo, which you're all accustomed to. So yeah, the rendering settings can have a massive effect on gameplay, which is why I'm going to show you some of them now. So yeah, cool. As you noticed, it's not made it too much of a difference, and we'll keep that on high. Alpha to coverage does affect frames per second as well. This little blur you can see here around the trees, if we set that to disabled, the blur will go. The trees do look a bit worse, but you do get a few more frames a second out there. I do prefer to have it disabled. You can see arrowhead trees and grass. They have ported a lot of the quality of buildings, textures and stuff over from the Arma 2 engine. You will notice that all the buildings, or the majority of them, all the grass, all the trees do look similar, just with a little bit of enhanced video graphics. So next on to edge smoothing. I'm going to put mine to FXA very high. You can see it gives you sort of like a little ambient blur, which isn't too overpowering, which is what I like. So HDR quality is another one that massively impacts gameplay. If we put that to very low, and we go again to the menu, which we have to wait for the game to do like a little refresh or restart, this will massively impact your gameplay having this set on. So if we set it to very low, it will make a big difference. And what you'll notice as well is the lighting does look a bit less, but you'll notice up here that you got your frames per second now up to 50, which is great. A huge thing you can do to change is your ambient occlusion. Just disable that and watch your frames per second jump up. Look at that, guys, up to 83, whereas we turn it on and it is 50, so that's 33 frames a second. And all it does, as you can see here, is enhances some of the light and the dark patches of the areas around the game. So if we go to disabled, you'll see the game becomes a bit lighter. You can now see the road, but you get a huge boost here in your frames per second, so definitely worth turning to disabled. Post-process quality, again, is another one that you're going to want to turn to disabled. Again, it just amplifies your depth of field blur, so if you disable that, you'll notice also you get this aura that kind of seems to be there, goes away. Look at this house over here. If I disable that, you'll see it looks a little bit sharper over here, and your frames per second now jumps up nearly to 90. Another thing down here which you want to turn off completely is your bloom and your rotation blur. Get rid of both of those. I don't particularly like them. You can have them on if you want, but they only affect your frames per second a minor amount. Okay, so that's for all the rendering. If we go now to textures, you want to keep your video memory at automatic, because that's going to basically let the game decide how much video memory it should be using, which is going to be all of it. If you're playing a graphically intense game, it's going to push it as much as you can. Texture detail, we can set to very high, and filtering set to very high. If we click close now, we've got the main menu here. Again, the one thing that you can't change at the moment, I believe, is your mouse acceleration. That's not this menu here. This is just me showing you that you should have the full resolution small for size and aspect ratio 16:9. If I close that down and go to controls, acceleration doesn't work at the moment. So some people that do have mouse acceleration as part of their software or their mice will notice that it is a little bit temperamental here and there, so just move it around to exactly what you feel is best. Another thing as well is your head bob. You want to turn that off, because if you run with head bob, it's rubbish. Turn it off, and there you go. So you've noticed, guys, we've gone from around about 30 to 40 frames a second up to 82, 81 in the corner. You can see it moves and fluctuates around, but it's all above 60. The golden amount is 60 frames a second, because that's what you're going to want to record in and want to play in. As you can see, running into the light here, which looks incredible. I mean, just look at the surroundings here. They look really good. The character models also look great. The models here, I mean, phenomenal. Look at the level of detail on the front of that mask and on the helmet and just the clothing. I really like this top. And if we get the gun out as well and zoom in, let's have a look. Look at the level of those optics there. They look incredible. As you move, it's like the red dot actually moves with it as well. And the whole game has been enhanced by this alpha. But all those settings I've given you there, guys, really do help improve your gameplay and your performance in the game. I really hope you got something out of that. And if you do like it, guys, please remember to apply it to your own game and see how you get on with it. Cool. So another thing you can do as well is adhere by the minimum system requirements. I'm going to post those on the screen now. By adhering by those and trying to have a hardware that matches what the gameplay needs will lead to a much better gaming experience. I recommend a GTX 660 or above, or a oh, and I've got a 680 and it runs absolutely perfectly on a 680. My friend's got 690 and I know someone who's got Titan and it runs absolutely amazingly on with these settings. In regards to your AMD cards, I'd say one of the new R series cards or a 7970 just to get the maximum out of it. You probably definitely get away with 7870 as well, just to maximise those frames. Processor wise, you want a first gen i5 or i7 and above. AMD, you're going to want an 8 core 8350, 8330, something like that. That will definitely help out, especially if you're recording the game or streaming or anything like that. But I recommend those as minimum system requirements in my opinion. One thing that you can do as well is make sure that your graphics drivers are updated. Go into Nvidia, the website, and you can download their tool which will automatically detect your graphics card, which will really help out and give you the latest version of their graphics card software. Or AMD have their Catalyst Control Center. Go into that and make sure your graphics drivers are updated, because that will help out in the game, especially as the graphics companies, or the graphics card companies, see that a lot more people are playing certain games. If they are seeing that, then they'll make their drivers run better for that game. Another thing you're going to want to do as well is, if you want to optimize the game, is to make sure that you're not got anything running in the background. Make sure that you're not running anything there that shouldn't be. If you're recording or streaming, of course you're going to want to have those running in there. But if you've got other games running in the background, or Steam, which has to run in the background because you're obviously playing this game through Steam, or if you've got Origin running in the background, or anything else that shouldn't need to be running, just disable it, guys, because you'll notice a little a performance boost basically. Another thing you can do as well is do what's called an overclocking. If you guys are PC enthusiasts, which I'm presuming some of you are going to be, try and get the most out of your games by overclocking your software. It's basically like me saying you've got a 2-litre engine and you're speeding it up so it turns into a 3-litre engine. You're going to get places quicker, you're going to be able to go faster, you're going to be able to play drive your car a bit better. But what overclocking does is basically adds more power, or more tasks to your hardware. In this case, I'm going to say your processor and your graphics card. Imagine like a big pipe which is 3 meters wide. If you allow that pipe to become 4 meters wide and allow more data to flood through it, you're going to get to places quicker and going to get to do things quicker, which means stuff in the game is going to render quicker. I'm not going to go through exactly how to overclock each individual graphics card and motherboard and all that sort of stuff, but if you go to the website overclock.net and ask about your certain hardware, there are a lot of friendly, helpful people on there which will really help out and help you overclock your stuff. Beware, overclocking will void your manufacturer's warranty, and it also will make your computer run a lot hotter, so you're going to have to be quite patient with it and get to a level and test it out. It could take a day or so, but just basically by enhancing your PC hardware and making it run a little bit quicker, it's going to in turn make your game run a lot better as well. Try and squeeze out as much as you can from overclocking, guys, because it will make your game run a lot better. Okay guys, so that concludes my video on how to make the game run better. This is DayZ Standalone, this is the alpha, this is not the mod, and it is looking great at the moment. Loads more to come from this game, loads more we're going to get from it in the forthcoming months as it goes into beta, and hopefully a full game release by next year. But I really hope you enjoyed the video and got the most out of it to make your game run and look a lot better than if you have it on your default settings. If you do like it, guys, please remember to like and subscribe, and catch me on Twitch where you can, and also follow me up on YouTube. Catch you soon, guys, take care.